Round numbers and moving averages are vehemently defended by the cartel. And I've often said the only way you can successfully manipulate a market is to push it in the direction that it is going. It is wasted, expended energy in trying to hold back a global tsunami of demand. And, when the cartel started to mess with gold and silver, we can go back years and years and years ago, all the way back to, Clinton and his strong dollar policy. Way back, we see an affinity for U.S.-based assets, stocks and bonds and real estate, and a complete lack of interest whatsoever, even an acknowledgement of gold and silver as an asset class globally. It was very easy to push the price around to affect sentiment. It was very easy to suppress the price of gold and with the proceeds buy treasuries, which would enable interest rates to fall further, which would push the price of gold lower and lower. And it was a repetitive process where the central banks would lease their gold to the commercial banks, who would sell it short to the market, take the proceeds, buy treasuries, and continue this process, which kept an illusion of strength in the dollar, which kept interest rates low. That illusion was fostered by stepping on the canary in the gold mine, the price of gold and silver. And it's not that way anymore. I think it's very obvious that there is a great deal of concern globally, not just here in North America, about what's happening with inflation, with inflated asset prices, with geopolitical, political, moral, social, you name it. There's so many things that are troubling people that I think to assume that the road to retirement is only paved with U.S. stocks and bonds and mutual funds is very naive. Not as naive as it once was, but much so, more so now. And so these round numbers for the cartel that is clinging to the last bit of life and being able to hold the prices down, I think is something that needs to really be understood. We look at the 200-day moving average as an example. When we look at silver, we saw it at the onset of the war between Ukraine and Russia. Gold and silver in particular, we'll focus on silver here, blew through its 50-day and the tougher 200-day moving average, which is a longer trend line that once 50 and 200-day moving averages with momentum, as Michael Oliver would like to talk about, once those levels are breached, it alerts all of the technical analysts, all of the funds that use and employ technical analysis, that a new trend line has been established, that we have blown through the resistance levels that have been in place for a long time. And not only that, with great momentum. And in silver, it was $24.40 is the 200-day moving average. As we blew through that, everyone feeling good that the price had closed above $25, we see Bank of America sell 1 billion, with a B, 1 billion ounces of derivative paper silver short onto the marketplace to drive the price down. Now, this reeks of desperation. These are the goofballs that are short 800 million ounces of silver. And on a day like today, where silver's up 80 cents, do the math yourself. That's $640 million that they have lost today alone with silver moving up. This is what put Bear Stearns out of business. And for those of you that have listened to the interview between Bart Chilton and Chris Marcus, where he admitted all of this stuff, where Bear Stearns went bankrupt because of silver exploding, the JP Morgan inherited the deal, on and on and on, and then he died a week later after telling that story. This is what put a large commercial bank like Bear Stearns out of business. Now, is it going to wreak the same havoc on a company like Bank of America? Not sure. But I think if I were a board member of Bank of America, I'd say, what the heck are you guys thinking, being short 800 million ounces of silver in this environment? And a good deal of gold, too. 30 or 40 million ounces is what I was told. This is insanity. And so when you see the lengths to which that they are trying to keep it below moving averages and how futile the endeavor is, last a day or two, and bang, here we are, back up above $25 today. And yes, there's geopolitical problems, but you could argue, I can, that this is long overdue on so many levels. And I think it's really important to understand that not only did they short 1 billion ounces, which is 200 million ounces more than is mined in a year. If you look at the numbers, one day before the March delivery they were as many as 15,000, I believe, COMEX contracts short of being able to deliver. In other words, there was somewhere in the neighborhood of 30,000 COMEX contracts that were open interest that could stand for delivery. Backing it was somewhere in the neighborhood of 15 or 16,000 contracts worth of silver in the registered category. This close to a silver squeeze, this close to a force majeure. The games that are being played on COMEX right now, Dunnigan, have never been like this. And the banks that have, with a great deal of hubris and stupidity, I guess, are setting themselves up for a religious experience. If we see metal really start to move, and once you get through these resistance levels, there's really not a lot of resistance between here and $30. And if you saw something like that, where a $5 move or a $4 or $5 move from where we are right now times 800 million ounces, do the math very quickly. This puts a bank like Bank of America in big trouble. And so you can understand why they would go to such great lengths to hold the price down. But what I can't understand is why the heck would they have got themselves in this position to begin with. One of these days, these stupid decisions are going to come back to haunt them just like it did Bear Stearns. And if it weren't for the grand effort of holding it down, you'd see silver well above $30 today. You'd see gold well above $2,000. It's trying today, but we'd be there a long time ago if it weren't for this. And this is just another example of the great lengths that they're going to try to keep the price in check for whatever that means.
Before we continue, help us clicking that YouTube like button and subscribe now to our channel. This shows the algorithm that you valued this information. And it helps us spread that message. Sharing is caring. And now, let's continue.
Do you want to know one thing about crypto? I made over 3,000% in profit in a few weeks. Fact is, the traditional financial system, the traditional money system makes you poor, not rich. If you want to earn $500,000, $1 million, you have to wait until you're 50, 60, 70 in the traditional financial system, and you probably will still be broke. And you will be old. This is not a sexy combination, as you can imagine. But the question is, how can you start in crypto and make these profits? Where to invest? Where do you start? My name is Gunnar and I'm from Germany, as you can hear, and things are a little bit different in Germany. More about that later on. Fact is, there are lots of different cryptocurrencies. It's a gigantic universe where beginners and professionals get easily lost. But there is light at the end of the tunnel. There are 7 key steps you need to follow to become successful in this market. You have to know them, and if you fail one of them, it's literally impossible to succeed in this market. Just an example, one of the key points is your exchange, and one of the biggest are, for example, Binance and Coinbase. These are trusted and well-established exchanges, but, and this is a big but, you won't find the super profitable coins on those exchanges. The unknown super profitable coins that get gigantic profits are not traded on those kind of exchanges. They are traded on much smaller insider platforms that are barely known. And I can tell you what those super secret exchanges are and why they are so profitable. And another super important thing are the right information sources. The point is, the internet is gigantic. There are hundreds and hundreds of YouTube channels, blogs, pages, and much more. And there are also market makers and influencers. For example, Elon Musk, he is not a crypto guy, but the moment he recommended Dogecoin, it went through the roof, to the moon, so to say. But why did he recommend it? Where did he hear it from? He didn't hear it from newspapers. And believe me, he is listening to someone. But you have to know who, and you have to react before he is reacting. This is really, really important. And these are only 2 of the 7 steps you have to follow in order to be successful in crypto. And if you want to know all of these steps in much more detail, and if you want to have a comprehensive checklist, here's what you should do. There is a link below this video. Click on this link and you will get the opportunity to subscribe to my channel. Click on the link and you will see a video where I explain the next steps. So see you soon. Click on the link now. I'll see you there.